All right, today we're going to be diving really deep into a powerful passage from the Quran, specifically from Surah Ar-Ra'd. And we're going to be using the incredibly detailed commentary of Ayatollah Javadi Amoli to unpack what it truly means to be wise, to be one of those people the Quran calls the Ulu al-Albab. Now, this isn't some abstract philosophical idea. The text actually lays out a very practical, very powerful guide for living a more connected and meaningful life. So let's get right into it. So, what does this journey to wisdom even look like? Well, here's our roadmap. We'll kick things off by exploring the fundamental qualities that really define a truly wise person. Then, we're going to uncover the surprising power of patience and discover how to deal with negativity in a profoundly constructive way. From there, we'll see the role community and consultation play in making wise decisions. We'll also unpack the deep logic behind forgiveness, and finally, we'll see what the ultimate outcome of this entire journey is. Okay, first up, who exactly are these Ulu al-Albab? This is a really key term in the Quran, and the commentary makes it absolutely clear that it's not just about being smart or, having a high IQ. It's about a deep, penetrating wisdom that actually shows up in how you act, not just in what you know. I want you to think of these verses as the foundational building blocks of wisdom. They list out several key traits, but it's not just some random checklist. According to the commentary, every single one of these is interconnected, almost like pieces of a puzzle that only when you put them all together form this complete and coherent picture of a person of deep, genuine understanding. The literal meaning of Ulu al-Albab gives us a huge clue here. It means possessors of kernels. What a powerful image, right? It suggests someone who can see past the outer shell, past all the superficial appearances of things, to get right to the core of reality. And this isn't some innate gift you're just born with. The commentary really stresses that it's a skill you develop, a cultivated ability to see the world through a lens of divine purpose. So what does this look like day to day? Well, fulfilling the covenant means keeping all promises you've made to God. Connecting with Allah commands, that one is incredibly comprehensive. It means maintaining family ties for sure, but it also means upholding our connection to divine guidance and to the whole community. Basically, building a society based on justice and compassion. And I love this next part. The commentary points out two distinct kinds of fear mentioned here. Khashya is that awe and reverence you feel in the face of something truly magnificent, kind of like standing before a vast ocean. Khaf, on the other hand, is the fear of consequences, of a difficult accounting for your actions. It's a really nuanced idea, isn't it? One is about love and awe, the other is all about accountability. Okay, now we get to a quality that kind of ties all the others together. Patience, or sabr. But let's be clear, this is not the kind of passive patience where you just sit back and grit your teeth. The commentary is emphatic that the Quranic concept of patience is an active, dynamic, and incredibly powerful force. The key here is the why. Why are they being patient? The verse says they do it seeking the countenance of their Lord. What this means is that their perseverance isn't to impress anybody, it's not for social status, and it's not even just to get some reward. It is done purely for God. And it's that sincerity that transforms patience from just a simple virtue into something much, much more profound. The commentary actually breaks patience down into 3 levels, which I find fascinating. The third level is what we usually think of, being patient when you're faced with a tragedy or a loss. But higher than that is having the patience to refrain from sin and temptation. And the highest level of all, having the patience and the perseverance to consistently carry out acts of obedience and do what's right. It's so interesting that the first two, the proactive forms of patience, are considered more spiritually challenging and therefore of a higher rank than the reactive patience of just enduring hardship. And to add even more depth, the commentary draws on tradition to introduce these 3 beautiful forms of conduct. Beautiful patience means you endure hardship without complaining to other people. You take your grievances straight to your Creator. Beautiful forbearance is when you forgive someone so completely that you don't hold it over them or bring it up again. And beautiful departure is about when you have to part ways with someone, you do it gracefully, without burning bridges or creating any lasting bad blood. This powerful quote, which is attributed to Imam Ali, really drives the point home. Patience isn't just a nice-to-have virtue. It's presented as the absolute foundation of faith. Without it, the whole structure just collapses. You could almost say it's the core operating system for a spiritual life. Building directly from patience and forbearance, the text introduces one of its most profound ethical principles, the proactive and even transformative response to being wrong. The Arabic word used here, yadra'un, is so important. It's an active verb. It means to push back, to ward off, to repel. So this isn't about passively absorbing evil or just turning the other cheek. It's about actively engaging and neutralizing negativity. But you do it with its polar opposite, goodness. There's a lot packed into that one little idea. The commentary lays out these 3 ascending levels so clearly. Justice, an eye for an eye. That's the baseline. It's permissible and it establishes rights. But the Quran is constantly pushing us to aim higher. Forbearance is the next step up, where you have the right to retaliate, but you choose to let it go. But the pinnacle, the ultimate goal that's being praised in this verse, is benevolence, or ihsan. This is where you don't just forgive, you actively respond to an evil act with a good one. And that has the power to completely transform a situation, maybe even turn an enemy into a friend. So far, we've been talking a lot about the internal qualities of a wise person. But what happens when wise people come together to form a community? The commentary shifts focus here to look at how a wise society functions. And the key defining principle is shura, or mutual consultation. You know, it's really telling that the commentary pulls in this verse from a completely different chapter. It just goes to show how central this idea is. In a community of the wise, major decisions aren't made by one person at the top, by some single autocratic ruler. Nope. They're made collectively, through mutual discussion and consensus. And this is presented as a fundamental sign of a healthy, divinely guided society. The contrast that's presented here is just so stark. On one side, you've got consultation, which is the path of wisdom and humility. On the other, you've got despotism, the path of arrogance and ignorance. The commentary makes it clear this isn't just about politics, it's a fundamental moral choice. A person who has cultivated that internal awe and fear of accountability we spoke about earlier will naturally be humble enough to seek counsel. But someone lacking that will be prone to arrogance, believing they alone have all the answers. This right here is the bridge between those internal virtues and a healthy society. Let's circle back now and explore the logic of forgiveness a bit more deeply. We've seen that the highest level is to respond to evil with good, but the commentary provides a really profound rationale for why this is considered a higher station than simple justice. And this is such an important question, right? It's not about abandoning justice. It's about understanding the limits of justice and aspiring to something that can achieve what justice alone simply cannot, the true healing and elevation of people and societies. Here's the key difference. Justice is about balancing the scales. It's about rights. But benevolence operates on another level entirely, the level of virtue. It doesn't just balance the scales. It has the power to break the entire cycle of revenge. It introduces mercy and grace into the equation, and that's what prevents feuds and conflicts from spiraling out of control for generations. And this makes a really important point. Forgiveness is not weakness. In fact, the commentary states that the most powerful, most virtuous act of forgiveness is when you have the full power to take revenge, but you consciously choose not to. It also adds a crucial practical detail. You can only forgive personal wrongs done to you. You can't, for example, forgive a crime against the community or a violation of public law on someone else's behalf. This provides a very balanced and grounded approach. So this brings us to the culmination of the passage. After describing this comprehensive blueprint for a wise and virtuous life, the Quran outlines the ultimate consequence, the final reward for those ulu al-albab who actually live by these principles. The reward is described as Jannatu Aden, the Gardens of Eden, a place of eternal residence. But what's so beautiful, as the commentary highlights, is that the reward is not solitary. It's a grand, joyous reunion. The verse promises that these individuals will be joined by their righteous family members, their fathers, spouses, and children. The ultimate joy is a shared communal one. And this is the final scene. The commentary describes angels entering upon them from every single gate of paradise, offering this specific greeting, and listen closely to the reason they give. Peace be upon you for what you patiently endured. Of all the incredible virtues we've discussed, fulfilling covenants, connecting with others, repelling evil with good, the angels single out patience. It's the foundational virtue, the thread that ties everything else together, and the ultimate key to this eternal peace. So what can we take away from all this? Well, this commentary provides more than just definitions. It really offers a ladder of spiritual and ethical ascent. So maybe ask yourself, in your own life, in your conflicts, in your interactions, are you operating on the baseline of justice, always demanding your rights? Or are you pushing yourself to the higher planes of forbearance? And maybe, just maybe, even striving for the highest station of benevolence, actively replacing negativity with goodness? It's a challenging question for sure, but one that's definitely worth reflecting on. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.